What is up, guys? Delboy here. So it is repeat. Tony Bellew stops David Haye in 5 rounds in a relatively one-sided fight. In the first couple of rounds, you could tell that David Haye wasn't David Haye of old. He was flat-footed. He was slow. He was sluggish. His reactions were off. But having said that, he was jabbing to the head and body, trying to mix it up. He was still trying to find that big right-hand haymaker. And in the first 2 rounds, Bellew was being elusive, he was being cute, he was popping the odd jab here and there, looking for counters as and when. He was just playing it safe in the first couple of rounds. The first couple of rounds, you could have scored him either way, it doesn't really matter. In the third, both guys actually start to exchange, and Tony Bellew's more accurate and quicker hands in the exchange proved pivotal, and Bellew drops David Haye with a right hand, I believe. It was a good shot, but David Haye beats the count, gets up. Again, Bellew puts together another combination, drops David Haye for the second time in round 3. Again, David Haye does get up and beat the count. In this round, I'm debating whether Haye is injured again because his footwork didn't look right, and didn't look right from the first bell. But regardless, Bellew really put it on him in round 3. Round 4, Bellew again goes right after Haye. Both were swinging. But Bellew was always landing the better shots. He was more accurate. He was the quicker guy in there. And in round 4, it was looking like David Haye was just trying to be a bit negative to see out the round to kind of recuperate and reevaluate his game plan. And he did see round 4 out. Round 5, Haye actually starts reasonably well. He was moving forward and using the jab and pushing Bellew back like he was doing in the first 2 rounds. But again, David Haye gets a little bit reckless and is caught by a lovely counter left hook by Tony Bellew. It drops David Haye face first, and he struggles to get up from this one. But again, he beats the count. And then Tony Bellew just jumps all over him, and he started battering him against the ropes. And the referee waved it off, and rightly so. So credit to Tony Bellew. He got the job done. He actually looked a lot better in this fight than he did in the first fight. He looked a lot quicker, he looked a lot sharper, and he boxed a really, really good fight. It's the best I've seen him box, and especially in terms of his accuracy, because Bellew in the past, and in most of Bellew's fights actually, his accuracy has always been something that he gets criticised for. You know, he misses a lot of shots, and this time around he was as accurate as I've seen him. So credit to Tony Bellew for actually showing up even better this time around. He really boxed a good fight, and he looked good doing it too. As for David Haye, was he injured going into the ring? I don't know. In his post-fight interview, he kind of alluded to it, and then at the end he said he wasn't injured, so who knows. But regardless of any injury, the guy is shot. I mean, his feet were so static, you know. The reactions weren't there. He was looking bulky, he was looking slow, timing was off. Paulie Malignaggi made a great point. He wasn't putting any weight on his back leg. You know, his shots didn't have that same snap. You know, it looked like a really bad imitator of David Haye in the ring. That's what it looked like. But not taking credit away from Bellew, but you've just got to tell it how it is, and that's what happened. It wasn't a David Haye of a few years ago, and credit to the people who picked Bellew to win this fight. I was still drinking that Haye Kool-Aid. David Haye to me has always been a fighter where, despite all the BS and all the politics and all the bullshit and all the excuses and all the injuries, despite all that, I've always supported him, because ultimately the guy was one of the fighters who really got me into boxing. In fact, I would say David Haye is the fighter that got me into boxing, you know. He's the guy who got me into the sport, and he's the guy who inspired me to actually go inside a boxing gym and get punched in the face. So, listen, I'm always going to support David Haye, and that's probably why I picked the guy. But yeah, it's evident that the guy is shot. It wasn't the guy of a few years ago, you know, and he was beaten by the better fighter. You know, credit to Bellew, like I said, he was really, really razor sharp. Best accuracy I've seen from him, and he really executed the game plan to perfection. As for Tony Bellew, where does he go from here? I mean, they was talking about fighting the winner of the World Boxing Super Series. So that would be the winner of Gassiev versus Usyk. If Tony Bellew fought the winner of that fight at cruiserweight, that would be a great look. I'd give him a lot of credit for taking that fight. I'd love to see it. And they also talked about Tony Bellew fighting Andre Ward. And I think that would be a really, really interesting fight, and I'll tell you why. Firstly, to me, Ward is a lot better than Bellew in terms of just pure skills, and I think most people would agree. However, Andre Ward would have a lot of disadvantages going into that fight. Bellew is a lot bigger man, he's taller, he's probably longer, and not only that, you'd imagine if this fight happens, it's going to be in the UK. I doubt there's much clamour for Bellew versus Ward in the USA, and we've never seen Andre Ward fight away from his comfort zone in America. We've never seen that. So I think those factors alone would make the fight interesting, actually. So I would love to see Bellew versus Ward. I would love to see Bellew versus the winner of the World Boxing Super Series. I think they're all very good options. They all generate interest amongst the hardcore boxing fans and even casual fans as well. So those are the options I would like to see Bellew pursue. In regards to David Haye, obviously he should just retire. In his post-fight interview, he said he could potentially carry on. I mean, at that point, it'd start to get embarrassing. Man, he just needs to retire. He said before the fight, if he lost or even looked bad, he would retire. He should just stick to that. The guy is done, and if he continues anymore, he will tarnish his legacy even more, because he has actually tarnished his legacy at this point. But regardless, credit to Tony Bellew, really good performance. Looked really sharp, he looked powerful. Boxed a really, really good fight. What do you guys think? Peace.